Before our meeting here, there was a Munich security conference where we stopped participating a long time ago, because in recent years it has degenerated into such an internecine affair, where the West convinces itself that it is always right everywhere and that it will be like this forever. But I was also sitting there in front of some of the media that were covering this event, and Mr. Blinken said there, I even wrote it out, I quote, "We should under no circumstances divide the world into separate blocks." It seemed like the right idea, but he immediately continued without any pause. Of course, first of all, we will cooperate with democracy. But the most beautiful thing is his statement that all countries, I quote, "There is a choice to be at the table of the international system or to be on the menu." That is, here you have the approach of a representative of US foreign policy to those who disagree with them. And I would just wish that with such appetites our American colleagues would not choke at their democratic table.
I think this phrase about no choking at the democratic table perhaps was the most vivid one, but I have to say that this is not just the Russian sarcasm. This attitude is shared by the majority of the G20 members. In fact, according to Sergey Lavrov, this is something that the Brazilian host tried to make the main theme of the presidency, because we are now at a point where geopolitics is so divisive that there is a huge gap between rhetorical politicking or geopoliticking and the ability to do practical, substantive work. And the Brazilians try to make sure that this forum remains the place where people are not only throwing rhetorical dirt at one another, but also discuss certain issues of mutual importance. There have been some results coming out of it, because they talked about reforming global governance, not only the United Nations, but also the global governing infrastructure like the IMF and other financial institutions. They also talked about inclusivity and fighting poverty. They talked about sustainable development in economic, social and ecological sense. And this is how Sergey Lavrov summed up the prevailing attitude among the majority of G20 members.
Developing countries have actually emphasized the need to move away from artificially narrow opportunities through attempts to achieve geopolitical goals, which for the most part have nothing to do with international law and are designed to defend the interests of only one narrow group of countries. And the attempts of some of our Western colleagues at the meetings of the group of 20 ministers to divert the discussion from considering this key issue on the topic of support for the Kiev regime to unfounded accusations of Russia and in every possible way to Ukrainize the agenda by developing countries, which most countries of the global south have not supported. And this was proven by the discussion that took place here.
Now, the West wouldn't have been the West if it didn't try to hijack this forum as well. And a number of ministers, including the UK Foreign Secretary, German Foreign Minister, the American Secretary of State, brought up the issue of the death of Alexei Navalny, this prominent critic of the Russian president in one of the Russian prisons. Now, the causes of this death are still unknown, but as Sergey Lavrov faced questions about the fate of Alexei Navalny, he also said that if you are truly concerned about human life, the value of human life, if you are concerned about the rule of law, about freedom of speech, then you would be concerned about all those cases across the board, and you would not pick and choose, cases that are suitable for your ideological agenda and ignore something that happens in your own country. And here he specifically meant the death of the American journalist, recent death of the American journalist in a Ukrainian prison who died of pneumonia. Now, here's what Sergey Lavrov had to say about double standards.
As for the hysteria about Navalny's death, I don't even want to comment in detail. These people have no right to interfere in our internal affairs, especially since they themselves have such a log in their eye with Julian Assange, with Gonzalo Lira, who died of torture in a Ukrainian prison, and neither the Americans nor any other Western figures in any way even commented on it. I'm just making sure once again that the Nazis can do anything. This is a very serious thing, and if we talk about the demands that are being made now, we demand open and independent investigations. Well, it's a shame. Remember when he became ill on the plane? The plane was immediately landed, an ambulance was already waiting there. Omsk doctors began to provide him with all necessary assistance. The Germans, at the request of his wife, asked to pick him up urgently. It was all done within hours, one day. And then, when he ended up in Germany, nothing was found in a civilian clinic there of what they accused us of. They transferred him to the Bundeswehr military clinic, where they determined that some kind of Novichok was found in his body. We asked to see the results of the tests, but we were told, no, it's none of your business. We accuse you of poisoning him, but we won't show you the analysis. We will give it to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. We went there, they tell us, yes, we were given this analysis, but they told us not to show it to anyone. That's it. The circle has closed. And these people are still trying to make some accusations that we are not doing something transparently. I think it's just dishonest and dirty.
It is very inspiring to see not just Russia, but many other countries, the global majority, many developing countries, taking a stance for what used to be perceived as normal governance, policy for the sake of the people rather than empty geopolitical politicking. And we will have to see whether this type of attitude could be continued. But as we can see from this forum, it is gaining support all across the world because many governments are facing real issues and they are determined to use these international platforms to substantively improve lives of their people by creating joint synergies, by creating joint projects, and by eliminating obstacles that the privileged ones have created for themselves.